Imagine waking up one day and realizing your morning coffee costs double. Your dream car? Out of reach? Even your trusted phone? Delayed by months, or worse, priced beyond your budget. It's not because of inflation. It's because of a silent war raging across oceans. A war fought not with missiles, but with tariffs, global trade battles, and economic power plays. Welcome to the hidden front lines of the global economic war, where every move reshapes industries and every misstep rewrites the future. This 2025 tariff crisis is just getting started, and it's set to transform the global economy forever. Trade wars are not a modern invention. They've shaped the trajectory of global economies for centuries. Centuries ago, the world's greatest empires clashed, not just with armies, but with merchants, treaties, and tariffs. Take the Opium Wars, 1839 to 1860, where Britain flooded China with opium to correct a crushing trade deficit. When China resisted, the trade conflict escalated, with devastating consequences for both countries' economies. This marked a crucial turning point in international trade wars. Fast forward to the 1930s during the Great Depression, when the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was passed to protect US jobs and farms. The resulting tariffs, which hiked duties by nearly 50%, triggered a domino effect. Nations retaliated, sending the world deeper into an economic spiral. In the aftermath of World War II, global leaders understood that protectionism could destroy more than just economies. The WTO was born, and trade pacts like NAFTA were established to promote free trade. However, the rise of globalization in the 1990s and 2000s exposed its dark side, fueling inequality and setting the stage for the current wave of economic nationalism. In 2018, the world watched as a seismic shockwave rippled through the global economy, not caused by tanks or bombs, but by tariffs. When President Donald Trump launched the US-China trade war, it wasn't just an economic policy, it was a global economic earthquake. Trump's administration imposed 25% tariffs on $360 billion worth of Chinese goods, from steel and aluminum to smartphones and electronics. An additional $200 billion worth followed, targeting furniture, machinery, and consumer goods. Trump's goals were ambitious and aggressive: slash the ballooning $375 billion US-China trade deficit, punish China for its rampant intellectual property, IP, theft, revive America's manufacturing industry, which had been hollowed out by decades of outsourcing. In short, make America manufacture again. But the ripple effects quickly escalated into economic tremors across the globe. China, once America's largest trading partner, retaliated swiftly. Tariffs hammered US exports, particularly soybeans, pork, liquefied natural gas, LNG, with American farmers, especially in the Midwest, feeling the squeeze almost overnight. Vietnam emerged as an unexpected winner. As multinational giants like Samsung and Nike scrambled to avoid tariffs, they relocated manufacturing to Vietnam, which saw a 35% increase in exports to the US between 2018 and 2020, turning Hanoi into a new industrial hub. Mexico capitalized too, under the new United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. Mexican auto parts manufacturers saw an 18% surge in exports to the US, boosting production in Tijuana and Monterrey. Meanwhile, the European Union, EU, didn't escape unscathed. Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum sparked fierce retaliation from the EU, which slapped tariffs on American bourbon, blue jeans, and Harley-Davidson motorcycles, cultural symbols of US pride. Countries like India and Bangladesh found unexpected opportunities. As Chinese textile prices soared due to tariffs, US importers turned to South Asia for alternatives. India's textile exports to the US grew by 12%, while Bangladesh saw a 9% surge, setting new records in garment exports. Perhaps no story captures the pain of the trade war more vividly than that of the American soybean farmer. One moment, they were shipping billions of dollars worth of soybeans to China, the world's largest buyer. The next moment, 90% of that market vanished overnight. Farmers in Iowa, Illinois, and Nebraska were left staring at mountains of unsold soybeans, helpless as prices plummeted. It was a golden opportunity for Brazil. Brazilian farmers quickly ramped up production by 30%, overtaking the US as the world's top soybean exporter to China, a title once held by the US American farmers, many already burdened with debt, were left at the mercy of government bailouts and subsidies, struggling to keep their family businesses afloat. Imagine this. Every morning, you stroll into your neighborhood coffee shop. The rich aroma of freshly roasted beans fills the air, and you order your favorite latte. You visit this shop every day, year after year, paying with promises, "I'll come back tomorrow. I'll pay you next time." But here's the kicker. You never leave anything in return. No muffins, no bagels, no handmade crafts, nothing. Months pass. The shopkeeper watches you come in every day, handing over a little cash for your coffee, but never giving anything back. Soon, the shopkeeper realizes something alarming. You owe them a huge tab. The debt is stacking up, and you're the one responsible. You keep taking, but never giving. This is exactly how trade deficits work. In the global economy, the United States has been in a similar situation with countries like China. For decades, America has imported billions of dollars worth of goods, electronics, machinery, clothes, toys, from China, but has exported relatively little in return. This one-sided trade relationship has led to a massive, ballooning trade deficit, with the US owing China a huge economic debt. President Donald Trump viewed this economic relationship as unfair and unsustainable. He likened it to a shopkeeper who finally grew tired of the endless "I owe us." So Trump decided to take action, and his weapon of choice: tariffs. Tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, making foreign products more expensive for American consumers. Trump's goal was to push China to either start buying more American products, like agricultural goods, tech, and energy, or risk losing their biggest customer altogether. It was a risky gamble, one that would send shockwaves through global supply chains, forcing the world to reconsider its trade practices. But did it work? Why this matters for you? Imagine waking up tomorrow and seeing the price of your favorite latte go up by 20%. That's the impact tariffs have, not just on products like coffee, but on everything from electronics to clothing. The US was attempting to balance the economic scales, but at what cost to the consumer? Fast forward to 2025. The global trade landscape has shifted dramatically. Under President Biden's administration, the US continues to maintain tariffs on China, but with a more strategic and targeted approach. These tariffs are no longer about simple retaliation. They are part of a broader effort to reshape the global supply chain and secure the future of American economic dominance. What's different? Focus on technology and national security. Unlike the broad strokes of Trump's approach, Biden's tariffs are focused on high-tech industries, semiconductors, AI, 5G technology. These industries are now seen as vital for national security. Biden's administration is determined to protect America's technological edge and prevent China from becoming the global leader in emerging technologies. For example, the US is ramping up pressure on Chinese tech giants like Huawei and SMIC, while also pushing for Taiwan's TSMC to build more semiconductor plants in the US. The goal is clear: secure the future of American technology and ensure that the US maintains a competitive advantage in critical areas of innovation. Environmental and green trade policy. Biden's tariffs aren't just about economics, they're also about protecting the green energy revolution. For example, tariffs on solar panels imported from China have increased, aimed at protecting American solar manufacturers. This policy is meant to boost the domestic green energy sector, but it's not without consequences. European companies that rely on cheap Chinese solar panels now face higher costs, potentially slowing the global transition to renewable energy. Rising global inflation. While Biden's tariffs are strategic, they still lead to higher consumer prices. The tariffs on Chinese goods, combined with ongoing supply chain disruptions, are contributing to a prolonged period of global inflation. Industries like electronics, automobiles, and energy will feel the pinch, and American consumers will be footing the bill. For instance, the cost of electric vehicles, EVs, is expected to increase by up to $3,000 due to shortages in critical minerals like lithium, cobalt, and nickel, which are primarily controlled by China. What's at stake? The consequences of these tariffs are far-reaching. Not only will prices rise for consumers, but the global trade balance is being reshaped. Countries that once relied on cheap imports are now scrambling to adjust to a new, more expensive world. Will these tariffs ultimately help the US secure its place as the global economic leader, or will they provoke a new round of global trade retaliation? We've traced the roots, the ripple effects, and the rising tension. What started as trade policies is now a global chess match shaping the fate of nations. But behind these trillion-dollar moves are real lives. Farmers losing their markets, factories shutting down, families facing skyrocketing costs. In the next chapter, we leave the strategy rooms and step into the streets of Taiwan, the factories of Japan, and the farms of Brazil, where the human cost of this economic Cold War is unfolding in real time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the Time Navigator to stay with us as we uncover the real stories behind the numbers. In Part 2, Across Continents Under Pressure, How the 2025 Tariffs Are Changing Lives.